All right, we're going to do a quick video on linear equations, just the basics, and then introduction to slope. This is a huge part of 8th grade curriculum, and it comes up in 7th grade, it comes up in 9th grade, and beyond. So it's really important to have a strong foundation and understanding of what linear equations are all about, okay? So I just wanted to start with something simple, like the idea that I like shirts, right? Everybody wears shirts. It's something that we all have to buy. And so if I wanted to express to you that I like shirts and that I like to buy them, and I would say, no, well, I went to the store and I bought a shirt the other day. How many shirts do I have? Well, that's one shirt. So I could maybe represent that on a number line, right? Or maybe I was just, really feeling it. There was a sale and I got 5 shirts. Or maybe it was Christmas time and I was buying shirts for all my friends and I got 9 shirts, okay? That makes sense to you guys because we have done problems before where we've used the basic number line, okay? But what happens when there's a little bit more to our story, right? Okay, I like shirts, but maybe I better not buy too many. So I need to think about maybe I'm budgeting, right? Maybe I get paid every 6 weeks and I can't buy too many shirts. So let's look at this example of this coordinate grid. So we've got our x-axis and our y-axis, okay? Basically, guys, those are just 2 number lines. That's all that they are. Don't let it be crazy or confusing, just 2 number lines, because now we're going to compare 2 things. So the number of shirts, which I just talked about, right? I took that number line, I made it go up and down, and then the number of weeks that go by. A lot of times on your x-axis, you're going to be dealing with time. So number of weeks, maybe it's minutes or hours or years or whatever. It tends to be the x-axis is going to be time, okay? And so that's going to tell your story as you're going along throughout the problem. So let's say I don't have any shirts, like I've got all sweaters and tank tops or something like that in my closet, and I start out, I got nothing, okay? I got no shirts, I'm so sad right here, right? Okay, but I got a new job, and I'm going to get paid every 6 weeks, let's say, okay? Everybody gets paid a little differently. Let's just say it's every 6 weeks. So when I get paid at 6 weeks, I'm going to go to the store, and I'm going to buy myself 2 shirts, okay? So 6 weeks goes by, I've got 2 shirts. Now my 2 number lines are coming together. That information is coming together in one place. Okay, starting to make sense, right? And then maybe after 12 weeks, I'm like, oh yeah, another payday. I'm going to get 2 more shirts there, right? And then after 18 weeks, I'm going to get 2 more shirts. I'm a very boring and predictable person when it comes to linear equations. Nice, straight, boring lines, okay? Very predictable. Okay, so the amount of shirts that I get, okay, 2 shirts every 6 weeks. This is the rate at which I buy my shirts, right? It's how I do it, right? It's boring and predictable, like I said. So after 6 weeks, I get 2 shirts. After 12 weeks, it was 4 shirts. After 18 weeks, it was 6 shirts, okay? Now this is where it's a little bit tricky, okay? Instead of doing shirts per week, we're going to think of the input and output, okay? So if I say, okay, 6 weeks is going to go by, then I'm going to get 2 shirts. 12 weeks goes by, then I've gotten 4 shirts. So we see this as points on our coordinate plane. So if you go over 6 up 2, that's a point on our line. If you go over 12 up 4, that's another point on our grid, okay, or our plane. So all of these points, okay, our input is going to be our weeks. Our output is going to be the number of shirts that I get. So yay, right? Okay, and we can use that to make predictions about other things that are going to happen. How many shirts am I going to buy at 24 weeks, right? Or how many shirts did I have at 0 weeks? Or how many shirts would I have if I went back in time, right? Okay, it doesn't really make sense at that point, but we're using a basic example to understand it. But in math, theoretically, we can go into the negatives. So our lines can go into the negatives. This line could go down into the negatives, right, into a different quadrant. But for right now, I just want you to see that if I kept following my pattern, at 0 weeks, I had 0 shirts, right? That's my starting point. 0 weeks was 0 shirts, okay? If I went up to 24 weeks, you could look at our pattern here, 2, 4, 6, but we're going up by 2 shirts a week, right? So after not after a week, but every 6 weeks is when I'm jumping, right? So 24 weeks goes by, I'm going to jump up 2 more shirts to 8. Now if I wanted to get crazy and weird, right, I'm going to go back in time and I was negative 2 shirts down if I happen to be following that same pattern, okay? So it doesn't always make complete sense, but you have to make sure you're applying your common sense to the problem. Okay, so that is a basic introduction of linear equations.